lovely, beautiful experience as a teenager.
Right.
When you were in school. You were 15, I believe,
Yep.
and in English class reading The Scarlet Letter. I'm not even going to get into that part.
The Scarlet Letter. Yeah, that's right.
Can you describe what that experience was?
Yes. So at 15, I was sitting in an English class, and the teacher was speaking about the Scarlet Letter, and I had a teenage mind, like probably most people, full of different things, mainly anxiety and concern about grades and parents and crushes and who likes me, who doesn't, how am I going to get through the day? Really, the mind is so full of that. And then suddenly, there was a pillar of light, it like just sitting in this room right now. Just imagine that suddenly there's a pillar of light, and it descended on me.
And all around you.
It descended
on
on
overwhelmed
me.
you, right?
Yes, it totally
in a good way.
Encompassed me. It was the presence of an infinite peace that had no beginning, it had no end, and the quality of the love was so completely self-giving. See, it took nothing. It didn't take anything from me. I had never experienced that before. It was a presence that infused me. And what I had thought was me, Fran, this personality that was going around worried about so many things, that completely disappeared. It dissolved into this infinite sense of, I'm love itself. I've always been, and I always will be. And it was a light that had an intelligence to it. It wasn't the sunlight. It didn't have a temperature to it. It wasn't a light like this that cast shadows. See, if we look around the room, there's shadows everywhere. It was a pure light, an uncreated light, a light that had no end and had nothing but love in it. And it completely dissolved what I thought was myself. So that experience happened 40 years ago. I turned 55 this year. And it's unforgettable as the moment in time where I knew there was something that we call love that existed in this world. And it was the most beautiful experience. And you might say that this book was to go in search, where is that? Where can I have that experience again?
And you even said in the book, you looked around like, did everyone else?
That's right.
What is happening?
It was strange because no one else. It came, and it was completely sudden, spontaneous, and then spontaneously it was gone. And I looked around. I'm like, oh my gosh, did you see that? Did you see that? And I realized, oh my goodness, what was that? Yes.
Yeah, this might be a good time to bring up that you grew up in a very strict church.
Yeah.
Strict and
very strict, right.
Trying to think of another word for it, but
rigid, constricting, suffocating.
Is a good, yeah, okay.
Oppressive.
All right, I'm trying to be okay.
Negative.
She's got all the adjectives I'm looking for.
Self-negating.
And so you took this beautiful experience as a 15-year-old would and tried to make sense of it and spoke to people who were important in your life, your mother, your pastor.
That's right.
And tell me what happened then.
Yes, thank you. We're changed by love. And I was changed. There, in the months that ensued after that experience, it's like when you meet a human being or you go to a special place and you just feel like you're different inside. And when that light left, it left something inside of me. Something changed. And so I was not the same person after it. And I became almost imploded from within in a way. It was a lot of energy, and when we encounter something that's beyond our capacity to incorporate it, then that can be difficult. And my mother was aware that I was going through something strange, and she thought it was, puberty or or whatever.
Teenage angst.
Teenage angst, and then here I come out with a story about this pillar of light in the classroom coming out of the ceiling. And anyway, she got worried, and she took me to the only person that we trusted as an authority on such things, the pastor at a church in the South. I grew up in the deep South. And we went into his office, and on the way there, I sensed, well, I don't think this is going to turn out too well. I loved church. I was I had a devotional heart. And I was oriented that way, very introverted and kept to myself. And yet going to the office, I thought, I don't think he's going to look too keenly on this. So I left out part of the story. I was smart enough to do that. But still, at the end of the conversation, we were sitting there. I was just sitting like we were waiting for a verdict. And my palms were sweating, and I saw my mom shifting in the seat. We were waiting on his verdict of my most exquisite experience. Silence. It's the devil, he said. It's the devil. It's the devil. It's the devil. And my mother sat silent. I had no advocacy. So that went into me. I have the devil in me. I have the devil in me, is what I was told.
That evil touched you.
The most evil thing.
Yeah.
I mean, the devil, for goodness sake.
I can't think of anything worse that a person could say to a 15-year-old going through that. At this point, we're not even on page 10, and I am wanting to jump into this book and get you the hell out of there.
Run, Fran, run!
It's like, oh, this is not. I honestly cannot think of a worse thing that a person could say to someone in your situation.
It happens a lot to young people.
I'm sure it does.
In all kinds of ways. The young person goes and shares their most precious love experience. Sometimes it's a sexual awakening, I mean, think about puberty. Wow. That's a lot of energy going on there. We wake up, these little parts of ourselves wake up, and we have the courage to share something like I did with sharing about the pillar of light. And then we're told, well, God hates that part of you, or it's the devil, or it's terrible, that terrible part of you, and then what do you do with that? You just get split.
Yeah, right.
You get compartmentalized and split, and then you hide the most precious part. And that's the downfall of our human race, is that we hide our most beautiful potentials.